It's been a while. I took a little hiatus. Sometimes I get my energy drained when I go online for too many times and kind of refocus on something. I'd like to always be either programming or trading or teaching the students I have. So having everything on a single plate can get a little bit overwhelming, right, Shadow? Right. So today is gonna be an interesting day. I mean, this whole week has been interesting. It's been crazy, actually. Um, we see a lot of censorship, a lot of attempts by big corporations that have a dominance in some subject. Oh, and they just want to basically filter everything we do now. The UK sending out what seemingly is a protective measure uh, to verify every individual that goes on social media and other websites. However, we've seen with applications constant, constant data breaches. I mean, constant. There's no stopping. It's constantly, we're gonna take a look at some of these too on the most recent data breaches. One of them, maybe you know, maybe you don't, is an app called Tea, kind of like coffee, but weaker. Tea. Mm, and their particular statements are that they deleted all of your verified information. You don't have to worry about data leaks. You can easily, quickly, seamlessly, and safely post your photo and your driver's license. And you'll be safe because we need to verify for the tease case scenario. They needed to verify that the user registering was a female because it was a female only site or app or service, which due respect really does start to get uh, on the border of sexism when it comes to accessibility to the online world, and in some form or another, it's understandable. you know, T's purpose was to protect women from any, uh, well, males aren't perfect, protect women from any males that might be out there in the dating world. So they had to verify that the users involved in T when they registered were female. So they said, hey, send your driver's license, send a picture of yourself just for verification, and we will delete. Trying to organize my stuff over here. Delete the information so it's not leaked. But lo and behold, well, T leak. There it is in the snapshot. The T app, women only dating safety platform, launched in 2023. And the key here is that it's been a while for this to exist. And there were other similar websites that existed. Now there's Facebook groups that, women get together and uh, basically give information on guys that they may be dating simultaneously. Uh, Such a cultural chaos in the dating world. Um, there's no particular blame. There's no particular set of individuals to blame here other than ourselves for having such a petty form of picking people on materialistic characteristics. 6 foot, six figures, 6 inches, and then complaining that these individuals that with potentially very high confidence, because if in the stock market, when you see technical, it's because people follow the technical indications. When more people follow the same thing, the more it basically manifests. That's just how the stock market works on a psychological level. When you see a number like 69 become a strong support and then basically just goes up in the sky and you have a rocket from there, Well, it's because people are literally psychologically bound to these numbers and these technical values and indicators. And there's a lot more to go into it, but I'm not talking stock markets now. It's the same with any other subject, really. Um, when you're all seeking the same thing, uh, like the 666 man, the numbers are ironic in a way, uh, because in the end, the horsemen of the apocalypse. But with all due respect, when you're seeking the same thing, you're bound to be broken down by the same issues. Um, and then guys, well, guys are also fucked. Everyone's cooked. Everyone's got their own issues. And we're ruining it for ourselves. Everyone's participating in the collapse of social structures in one way or another. So you've got this T app with government issued IDs to be verified, got leaked, and it wasn't even on a extremely elite hack sort of way. The fact was there was no actual security involved. Maybe they just vibe coded their way without verification and just decided to take whatever code that good old Grok or good old ChatGPT laid out for them and didn't include the little prompt, make sure the code is secure from X, Y, and Z. Right, because you can write code and you can write it in 10 different ways. One of those will be secure. The other 10 or the other 9 will work, but they will not bear the same good, positive security that we hope our private data goes to. And it just seems like we're just downgrading and downgrading skill sets and replacing them with AI, which is the next, well, the next issue in our particular society. The same way we replace calculators to do our math for us is the same way we're replacing AI to do our thinking for us. And that doesn't really bode well for the way we want to run the future. Now, a lot of issues, a lot of issues, man. We want to go over some possible ways you can secure your privacy. One of the big things you can do right now, if you're using Chrome, GTFO, get rid of it. If you're saved a bunch of passwords and a bunch of things to it, just pray and hope that that's not going to get leaked. But the best case scenario is to use, um, let's see, it's Brave. It's Brave, and you can go to privacyguides.org to get a much bigger sense of detail when it comes to keeping yourself secure. There's a whole bunch of underlying data that gets kept track on your browser. Trackers, both visible and invisible, apparently. Trackers that essentially, well, uh, I don't know how what the invisible means specifically, but I would assume it's something under the radar, like cookies that potentially can work out. Um, no, it's not what I'm looking for. Common threats, threat modeling, choosing your hard. Ooh, what about hardware security? Picking a computer. Windows secured core PCs meet a higher security criteria specified by Microsoft. Now, the thing to keep in mind, specified by Microsoft, simply means proprietarized. There is a case for security when you don't release your code and keep it on the down low. But there's also that other case scenario that you only have a couple of people actually working on this versus an open source alternative which is kept track by the whole online community. And when there is an exploit within a Microsoft proprietary piece of software, well, it takes some time before it can get patched up. So even though by the factor of proprietary code, unviewable code, you still are at risk with Microsoft PCs. And it's getting worse and worse up to the point, up to the point Here's a case to also use Brave. I don't know if you know about Recall, but this little sucker, and I don't even know if I have it on my Windows. I believe it's in Windows 11, but I'm not sure if they try to sneak it into Windows 10. Windows Recall takes screenshots of your desktop and saves them every X amount of seconds. And what that does is it's supposed to be a feature to help you if you did something and you forgot what you did, and now you can ask an AI built in with the screenshot reader and be like, hey, I forgot my thingamabobber on this website. Recall, can you tell me what that is? And with those screenshots, Windows Recall basically saves images of you working on your computer. And that's not a good one. That is very, very, very bad. Not only for the fact that you're technically being spied on, and even if there is no malicious intent in the moment, um, well, given this accessibility to your desktop, the future problem with any of these is that while we may have good intentions, like Google, to provide a service for everyone to access the internet seamlessly, there can be always someone that takes over that has more malicious intentions for the original tool that was created. A new CEO, a new individual that wants to, well, leverage the existing tools to potentially spy on the user. So one of the good things about Brave is it actually blocks Windows Recall from taking a screenshot. I don't know if you've ever done this, try to stream something like a VRM based video on like a Discord with your friends and you're trying to just watch a movie together from a remote location. There's a case where streaming that content is just a black box. You don't actually see the content. And that's the Windows operating system basically blocking the DRM based content from being screen shared. Similar, Brave blocks anything from leaking into an image from Windows Recall. So this is a big one. Let me check if Windows Recall on Windows 10 or 11, or both for that factor. So Windows Recall on 10 is not available, thank God. So stay on 10. Do not upgrade. I'm never upgrading to 11. Recall is exclusive to new Windows 11 devices certified as Copilot Pilot Plus. Another thing I'm not happy about, Copilot, having an AI literally have similar control to your computer as you do. So it's not available on existing Windows 11 devices and will not be delivered through Windows Update. It's optional and can be disabled or uninstalled. I always debloat my Windows PCs with some special software that you can find on GitHub. And that'll remove everything from telemetry. It'll stop Windows from calling home and basically give you more protective control over what the hell your PC is doing. And that's important. That's very important to keep yourself isolated from these meta data based processes in the back end. But what is Windows Recall, man? It's basically taking screenshots of your computer, saving it to a folder for later use. AI hardware requirements. Interesting. And then those screenshots can also be leaked. If you get your computer um, basically accessed by anyone, you will have a bad time. Every piece of content on your computer files and those screenshots will be visible. So if you're entering a password or recovering a password and Windows Recall has been taking pictures of the process, then someone will have exact steps to retrace what you did, how you um, entered your account, and then do the same on their device. So a big reason not to use Recall. In fact, a big reason just to swap to Linux overall. Um, this is the way. The way is to get out of Windows. And the general sense of things is that when Linux-based systems like the one I'm running now, it's essentially like it's basically I haven't. I'm surprised. I've used Linux for maybe since 2012 with Ubuntu. and I haven't had such a smooth transition over to have a PC fully run Windows without having to switch, sorry, Linux, without having to switch to Windows, including the fact that you can essentially play games on your Linux system, which is amazing, in my opinion. I haven't found any game particularly. Let me actually get some of these. Uh, Engineering, Joy of Programming. Let me get some of these over here and install it over. Um, but I haven't had any issues with where's my other locations? Hold up. Is this one? Time shift? No. Everything runs smoothly, is what I'm trying to say here. Everything runs absolutely smoothly. So let's select this. I'm going to use that drive. Man, come on. There we go. Yeah, I think that's the one, right? Local drive, free of 900. I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah, 900. That's a terabyte. Should be 1,000. This one's 900. Oh, okay. Well, good enough. I'll use that one. Need to space out my installations a bit. Oh my goodness gracious. So privacy is on the attack. It's time to switch to Linux, my opinion. Time to take over. Oh, your system again. Good. Oh, maybe some restrictions. Hold on. No, it's working. It should be working. Installing files. Let it do its thing. And again, you basically have same access to what Windows does, thanks to SteamOS. So let's see, choosing your PC, picking computer, store data, important all device supported manufacturer and developers by continuing to receive security updates. That's the biggest piece. Hardware can be exploited, um, given that your system gives access to the kernel, which is one of the issues I think with a lot of Steam games nowadays. They're trying to access the kernel directly and then watch your keyboard to see if you're actually playing the game or if you got a script running that's playing the game for you. Where is the friggin' browsers though? Tor, privacy versus secrecy, do. Common counter argument to pro-privacy movement is the notion that one doesn't need privacy if they have nothing to hide. Oh my God, have you heard this before? I freaking hear it all the time. It's like you go into the toilet, right? And you just want your own privacy. And someone says, hey, if you're not doing anything wrong in that toilet, why do you care if nobody's watching or somebody's watching? It doesn't matter what the fuck I'm doing in that toilet. Let me my privacy. So that argument is completely out of whack, absolutely broken, and it's just an excuse to try and gaslight the subject. Not a good view, not a good perspective there. Dangerous misconception because it creates a sense that people who demand privacy must be deviant, criminal, or wrong. That's like the assumption. That's a horrible assumption to make that everyone that wants privacy is any one of these. This is what a surveillance state wants. A surveillance state basically wants everyone to be on that same page. They basically just want the ability to take control, look at your stuff, and if you've got nothing to hide, why are you so picky about it? Why do you care? Oh, let's see. I wanted to look around the, yeah, there we go. So Kali Linux can now run on Apple containers. That's nice. Normally it's the hardware issue, but I believe just because most Apple devices now are Intel based. Uh, and when you do any virtual machines, in fact, let me do a virtual machine. I'm gonna install VBox. where you at? Software manager. And then this is how easy you can install stuff on Linux at this point. Like you don't even have to go crazy. Look up the thing you want to do, virtual box, base solution. It'll give you everything you need to install together. One of the things I love about Linux is that all these libraries are accessible between each um, software you install. So when you install it once, you have it on the computer and other applications can use them. The problem with Windows is everything is installed in its own folder, and each folder is managed by each software, each application you install. Which means that if two applications use the same piece of API library, framework, whatever, they have to both install the same thing twice, and it takes up twice the amount of space. So I really do love how Linux shares its library and basically lets people save space based on that. All right, what's going on with this? Identity attacks have changed. Have you have your IR playbooks? Identity attacks have changed a lot in the recent years, which means how security teams investigate and respond to them has adapted. A compromised identity was once just a part of a system compromise, and the scope of the detection and response was focused on the organization's Active Directory domain. Now, identity attacks happen beyond the traditional on premise networks, impacting cloud identities that are created, used, and attacked in the browser. Modern identity sprawling configurations, complexity has changed the nature of the beast. I would say this is very true. Everything's running on a cloud-based system. Everyone's got a cloud connected something to some application, your data, private data on the cloud. I don't like the fact that we use the word cloud. We used to just basically use server, and a server is known to be um, that device someone else has, a computer in some other location. Cloud just makes it looks all or sound all mythical, like, oh, your data is in the cloud, it's floating around up there. But in the end, your data is in someone else's computer. That's what's really happening. Cloud is like that schematic to change the way we see languages and the way we try to soften people's migration towards a certain thing. A cloud is fluffy. A cloud is mysterious. It rains and it nurtures the ground and makes things grow. But in the end, a cloud is still, in this case, a server. And a server, well, basically holds information, especially your private data. Push security Josh's Gideon went from executing sophisticated identity attacks as a security consultant to defending against them on the front lines as director of security. Great. It's more like an advertisement. It looks like Microsoft now pays up to 40,000. So if you find a vulnerability in the .NET framework, you can get paid 40K. That's nice. That's nice. This is an open source Thorium platform for malware, forensic analysis. Russian hackers use ISP access to hack embassies. I mean, the online world's getting crazy. Let's see what the cyber maps are showing. Mm, no. Russia's active. Germany, Netherlands, Hong Kong, India's active. Not so much on the intercontinental space. Top targets, Ethiopia, Nepal, Indonesia, Uzbekistan. Hey, damn, what's going on over here? That was a long reach. Yep, that makes sense. Education, telecommunications, and government. The most hit places. Mobile, adware. I mean, even the ads we're seeing between videos are not being screened for safety. If we're watching YouTube and we see a bunch of ads, we're basically also Pwn to own on Bleeping Computers like 15 minutes ago. Pwn to own. Hold up. Let's see. I've heard opponents owned before. Red Hat Linux hacked on first day. Oh, Red Hat. Windows 11 N? Oh, that's yeah. That's that competition they do. Right. Berlin security researchers. Yep. Red Hat Enterprises. Linux for Workstation was the first to fall in local privilege escalation category. This was a case for there was a kernel level exploit available for a bit, sudo, based on sudo's exploit. Windows 11 was hacked twice more to gain system privileges. Exploit chain combined the use of after free and an integer overflow. Getting through a certain part of the memory to get access to more valuable resources. Windows 11. Windows 11. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux for workstations was the first to fall. I have my qualms with Red Hat. I'm not a fan of Red Hat. Red Hat is another kind of reach into the corporate world. It's like the Windows of Linux, if you will. Um, I learned a lot of my Linux from a Red Hat CD, and that was nice. Oh, it was actually like 3 or 4 CDs that I had to install. It was a huge system back in the day. But as a general sense, Red Hat management uh, is also in the sense of proprietary. So in the case of Windows and Red Hat, they're not too far off from that proprietary set of code that no one sees, but when it gets exploited, it takes time to fix because no one sees it. No one can act on time. Only the people that have been paid or put in placement of security and fixing these exploits within the company, of course. Team Prison Break earned 40,000 after demoing an exploit chain that used an integer overflow to escape Oracle. Yes, I heard about this. Yeah. Even virtual systems, dude. Even virtual systems are getting screwed. That's scaring me because that's kind of like what I depend on to have. Like someone was telling me to like do to start playing with viruses, and I'd be down for that. Maybe I'll be able to kind of work around like you know, a virtual box on a host Linux, maybe. But even then, I'm just kind of like a little bit paranoid that that sucker can leak out. Mm, how did they do that? Execute code on the online submitting teams. Let me see. I want to go more into detail on that. Integer overflow Oracle VirtualBox. Hmm. I love GitHub. An integer overflow vulnerability exists within the VirtualBox MIP buffer size source function, all the way down to the function. This vulnerability allows an attacker to manipulate MLOC in C such that 0 bytes are allocated while VirtualBox tracks the size of the buffer as a greater value of 0. So in C, in any low-level language, thing to always do whenever you're like creating a variable, creating a function, creating something is to like save space on the virtual on your RAM. Ugh. Hold on, let me cross my legs here. And in order to do that, you use a function called malloc. And what that does is you say, hey, let's say I want an array of integers. You have to kind of like from the beginning go into hold on. You sent the thing. Is that the one? Pays 1 million for what's app exploit? Hold up, you sending me that? I'll take a look at that. Yeah. So MLOC basic, I mean, it's an old function, dude. I learned that in like freaking 2000, well, call it 10, 11. That's not old from other perspectives, but MLOC has existed for a long time. So you want an array. Normally, what do you do for an array? You create the brackets, you put whatever values you want. JavaScript, though, automatically handles it, how big you want it. And even if you add more items to the array, you JavaScript, Python will automatically extend the size. But when you're going down to like C, C++, C Sharp, Heck, if you go down to assembly, you have to manually say, I want 20 times int if you expect, because we can't mix different types within the same array. So you would do a multiplication factor of 20 times int or integer, which integer will return the size of an integer. So I forget what the size of that integer, size of int data types. It's like car short int 4. Why is it flickering? Hold on. Why are you flickering, bro? Give it a second here. Sometimes my video card finds a way to be a bit obnoxious. So you say 20 times int, in this case 4. So you allocate 20 times 4, 80 bytes through malloc. And you would use this process to basically create the size of that. Is it working? No, I gotta deactivate, activate. Why? Is it because a lot of white color is on the screen? Data types? It just started like this. Okay. And if you want to extend it, you actually have to take the current array that you've allocated and then make a new set of memory that will maybe extend it. Maybe you now want 40, but you only have 20 in the first one. So you say, all right, let's make it to 40. So you make a whole new space in RAM, and then you carry over your 20 plus the 20 that you want to extend with. So like you would have to literally destroy the old array, create a new one, or first in the order, create a new one, copy it over, extend it by 20, and then destroy the old array. And now you're just working in a different location in memory. So you would actually just use malloc to create that memory. And it seems like there was a case where you put 0 bytes. So you, instead of like 20 times int, you just put malloc 0 are allocated while VirtualBox tracks the size of the buffer as the value gets as the value greater than 0. So maybe there's a misunderstanding between VirtualBox's comprehension of how much space and the 0 that gets allocated. And what that does is, since VirtualBox is extending the size greater than 0, but the actual size is 0, you access, wow, you access the actual values outside of that 0. So it could work, and it's a very like throwing the dice. It's really about throwing the dice because you could be anywhere in the RAM. You can't get to choose exactly where you create your set of values. You just kind of depend on the hardware, the motherboard, and the general kernel of your operating system to basically give you that space through malloc. But if you're allocating 0 and VirtualBox tracks the size greater than 0, so you're going from that location 0 at access memory 0x555, and VirtualBox now gives visibility to 556, which could be some other application. 557, a totally different application. So while VirtualBox is continuously growing its space, it's actually leaking into other uh, potential memory locations from other applications. And this is all on the host machine. So this is on the actual RAM in your computer, in your hardware, rather than any virtual RAM. That's crazy. Such a simple thing. Allows an attacker to manipulate analog such that 0. So manipulate. So it uses, I would say normally you can't really use 0, I guess. So they found an exploit that they could use 0 as a factor. And then from there, access further. So, and then all you have to do is just, malloc 0, my variable, equals my variable. And then as VirtualBox increases the size of my variable, then you just print the contents of my variable, and then boom, there's your other locations in memory. Like that's basically what it's stating. And the problem is that it's doing that through the hardware rather than the virtual RAM dedicated and software locked. Normally, anything virtualized will be locked in a space of memory, sandboxed, so it can't be leaked through. But how would you do that? through an operating system that's running on top of VirtualBox. Trigger the algorithm is the following. So let's see. You got what is it? Unsigned integer 32 with some flags. These are just variable descriptors. This PA void PV host pointer to the CB total bytes on the host. CB total bytes. So they have potentially a variable that's accessible even through VirtualBox that is in the virtual environment also having access to the host environment. So maybe this variable is kind of the leak itself. There's a case for a pointer. Anytime you use a asterisk, you're actually pointing to a location in memory. In this case, the location of where PV host is located. Asterisk in C, C++, C sharp is basically, hey, where is the location? If you don't use asterisk, you take the contents of that location. Asterisk, however, particularly in front, like this one too, is going to return the location that that variable is located. Boggles my mind. So what boggles my mind is their claim that they can ensure manipulating the host heap after less than 10 attempts. I mean, that's the case for flipping that coin, right? You're looking at first attempt, we're inside of Notepad. Second attempt, we're inside of uh system, not even system 32. SV host would be a case for accessing internal system variables. So, I mean, on a Windows machine, you've got plenty of backend stuff. If you have applications running in the background, they're taking up RAM. So you would be kind of like teleporting in different parts of RAM until on the 10th attempt, like you say, which is interesting. I mean, you would have to understand how the operating system allocates that space. I would assume each run, it just finds the first open space that would be, and because it's zero, if you found a way to allocate 0 bytes, that means you don't need a lot of space. And because you've got like, let me see, because you have essentially, let's say this is your RAM, right? You'll have something like this would be allocated for the operating system. Hey, come on now. This would be allocated for, I mean, that's too big, but let's say you're like using 50 tabs on Chrome. This would be Chrome, and you're never going to get a full non-gapped location. As you can already tell, there's a gap that I left right here. That gap would be less than, I don't know, some odd number of kilobytes. So if you decide to basically randomly use amalloc multiple times, sometimes amalloc is gonna like make a little variable over here. Other times it's gonna move that variable, popping up over here, and then over here, and then over here, and then it'll squeeze itself right in here, and oop, now the 0 byte case scenario leaks into Chrome, and boom, you have yourself a location that's useful. Where now in this case, I mean, I wouldn't know how to verify where, what's inside of that extra space, but if you have your 0 byte at here, your 0 bytes just chilling right here. Then byte after that, 1, 2, 3, 4 hexadecimal wise, would start leaking into Chrome. Then you can print the contents or use it, particularly in the case of saving it into another asterisk. So you can also manipulate those asterisks we saw a second ago. You could save the extra space after 0 into its own variable with an asterisk, which now you have access to the memory location directly. And then boom, it leaks into Chrome, and now you've got yourself a leak, a memory leak. That's all this is. You can just see by the fact the yellow is bleeding into the Chrome space. And from there, you can take whatever bytes are running. If you don't have security measures on the Chrome level, I wouldn't imagine they do. Like this would be an issue with Java. Mm, not an issue. It will be a security strength of Java. Java runs under bytecode. So even though you'd essentially have access to Chrome if Chrome was made in bytecode, Java would be able to obfuscate that content. But C and C++, they run directly as machine language, zeros and ones, hexadecimal values, assembly, right? You can take all that content you find in the leak of Chrome and then disassemble it, see what variables are being held. And if you happen to catch that password, or the current running systems, or even just basically overriding that space with your own little virus, hijacking Chrome only, at least, in memory. So you take the space, drop in a couple of redirections, and say, hey, this Chrome now has a little extra pointer. And let's say the virus is actually running over here. If you are, in fact, hijacked, then that little value inside of Chrome that has been overwritten will point. Can I, can I, there we go. Will point over to this location and then run whatever code the virus does. Uh, Constantly screening, maybe increasing the size of that location, infecting it further. You don't really need that much. All you need is to exist within another running process, and that would be enough to basically read the rest. You don't have to modify the rest. You now have access to where, of course, Chrome could also be kind of partitioned in different places, around the RAM. Some things that run the V8 engine, some things that run the user interface, something that run the console, the backend, the compiling or the interpreter of HTML and yada yada. So they might not be within just one block of memory, but of that case scenario, you still can read everything. If you don't modify it, you don't change it, and it keeps on running like normal. You have less of a chance to break Chrome if you just modify a teeny tiny little spot and then direct it to run the actual virus up that's right here. And then Chrome would officially be hijacked because you're running it through memory. Best case scenario, this is why you have like AVG or different types of onboard antivirus scanners. They have two ways of operation. They have the ability to, um, I don't like this. I don't like working with, let me see, we have PaintNet. Antiviruses can run under RAM scans and they can run under hardware scans. Let me get a nicer, quicker application here. PaintNet. Where's Paint.net? Wait, don't I have PaintNet? Doesn't it exist here? Meh. Okay. Well, I wanted something basic. I think that ooh, edit screenshots or memes. Interesting. I like memes and I like screenshots. Save without transparency. I wish there was a function I can just do a screenshot and then modify it. I don't like Windows. Well, that exists. Grab the whole screen. Meh. I don't like it. Not this one. Flame shot. Ooh, look at this. Powerful, simple to use screenshot software, built-in editor. Let's go. All right. So, oh, okay. Nice. Working it. Help. Oh, hello, I'm here. Ah, oh, yes, yes, yes. Very good, very good. What? Oh, dude, that's seamless as hell. I like it. All right, cool. Very nice. So you can hijack a small piece of a running RAM, and then AVG or something will be able to basically scan your RAM for this sort of odd pointer reference, pointing from somewhere inside of Chrome into a totally different, irrelevant space. Now, what it would need to do is be able to say, hey, this is Chrome, it's running from this directory, and then this is a something. They might not recognize what virus is because normally they obfuscate that. So it's going to have to kind of understand where this is and realize that the two directories are completely different locations and say, hey, that's kind of sketchy that one directory in RAM is pointing to another completely different location in documents, because the virus can save itself basically anywhere in your system. Um, that would be a hijacking in memory. Oh, trigger the allocation of a buggy surface, size 0. Allocate GB0, a GB0 object with a value of NCB total that could be used to fingerprint our object. After trial and error, the value, there's the location, proved to be reliable enough. 100% success rate. Exploit the out of bounds read. The out of bounds is that leak that we saw. This is the out of bounds blue space that would essentially leak into um, the Chrome space. Exploit the out of bounds read and check the bytes after. Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna check, aka run it through some code, decrypt it on a assembly level, or just see if you find any variables inside and basically take them and hope that you get something like a password or some running process that you can completely hijack. Assume that our target GBO object is allocated right after the surface. If not, go back to 1. Maybe I'm looking at it backwards after the surface. So after would be after the allocation of Chrome. I'm kind of before the allocation of Chrome. Algorithm proved to be 100% reliable to get a heap grooming within the first 10 attempts. An arbitrary read. It's crazy. Another useful primitive that can be achieved via the grow C0 table is the ability to allocate arbitrary chunks to the heap memory. This is done via corrupting the FGBL flags. BTRS? Hey, no, I have not. And somebody basically wanted me to use the BTRFS on installing this one. I was like, where's my extension for? And when I was doing that live installing the Linux, someone's like, hey, you should install the BTRFS one. And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. I'm not going to do that. This corruption on forced shutdown. Let's see. How, why would someone, this is why I don't listen, not to chat. I listen to you guys when you give me good ideas to kind of search and go for, but I don't listen to commands from chat. That's kind of the key. Someone's like, you should use this. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna use my extension for. So this is interesting. Is this recent? Oh, that's May 2019. Routinely hear about as unreliable. Well, that's got to be something old. Let's see. Anytime within the past week. Single user mode. Boot patch boosts disk failure. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. Disk failure. 617 VFS patch boost disk failure handling for BTRFS Bcache. This was recently? Yeah. Oh, this was the other day. This was the other day. Okay, in the ever-evolving world of open source software, Linux kernel continues to push boundaries. Patch works by introducing a new mechanism that notifies the file system of a device's disappearance. Yeah, extension 4 has been the. I mean, I love extension 3, but extension 4 and the indexing it does. Ah, dude, it's beautiful. It's absolutely like I've even tested it multiple times in the past, 10, 15 years ago. 10 maybe. I don't know when extension 4 came out. But I was just like looking at Windows, the way their stupid little NTFS works, and then the extension 4, and I was like, it took like 5 times or 5 to 10 more times because I guess depends on what you're searching. It takes longer for smaller files versus larger files, obviously. So like Windows took a long time to search for a file, and extension 4 is like, here it is. I'm like, why do I need anything else than this? I just want to search for files. So basically, little windows you have in the other program allows you to make set execute code in your virus with its own privileges. The little window, basically, the virus is running outside of any sort of privileged space. It's just kind of running in memory, existing. What that little teeny tiny little exploit in memory does is it's able to inject code and make it look like Chrome is running it. So in the case of like Chrome itself, not a big deal, right? You can execute Chrome to do something. Go to a specific website. But then again, Chrome still has protections. Now imagine Internet Explorer running and you go to a specific website that's gonna destroy the crap out of Internet Explorer. Maybe it's a custom server with an IP address that's not listed on any indexed sites and it's completely hidden. But you know it because you created that little place. So you force Internet Explorer to go to that website because of this little thing. And then there's your Trojan horse, right? Then you download a virus onto the system and Internet Explorer, I'm not sure of the privileges that it has, but I know that for a long time, Internet Explorer was very close to like the operating system level. Mm, because Windows loves to just basically force it down our throats. So they basically install it every time you install Windows, and even when you remove it and next update, expect Internet Explorer to come back. So in this case, yes, but what if we passed this to something like System 32? What if our byte was actually, where's my byte? There's my byte. Come here, byte. Let's move you over here. What if my byte was over yay, right? And it's 0 bytes total, dude. You can fit 0 bytes. Because, okay, and we're not really talking about the next case. There would be some indexing tables. Like there's this kind of space in RAM, just like in the hard drive, where it's not accessible by anything other than the kernel, where it's basically indexing what's happening uh, in RAM, what's being used. Very small space, probably like 2 or 3 megabytes, unnoticeable. So like what if we teleport somehow accidentally by luck right over here between these two sections? Now you have access to System 32. Now you have full privileges. Now you have completely full privileges based on the System 32 location folder. The ZFS and NAS. ZFS. Desktop ZFS for NAS and servers. Oh, why do different for servers? What's the benefits of ZFS for servers specifically versus a desktop? Is it, if I was thinking of it, it would be a much stronger sense of user access control separation because you can do that on the file system level too. And in the server specifically, you want to really be like really separate um, the factors in the background, the file system that holds certain files. Sure, you can exploit it from memory, but if you have access to System 32, then you can start injecting hard drive files with your virus or similar little pieces of exploits. And then you just have every single program on your computer infected, right? because it's in the hard drive now. At least in RAM, you can kind of like clear it out. The first thing I do, if I feel like my computer has been acting weird, slowing down, if I go to a website and it F's me over, like that one time when I was on stream and some guy decided to fool me with his little exploit, the first thing I do, hold the power button and then continue holding it for like a minute or two. Just the way the hardware works. Sure, you can just kind of hold it until the computer turns off, but if you keep holding it after it turns off, you start, you continue that connection that activates a wire when you hold the power button, and that wire is now continuously draining every piece of electricity from your motherboard, including RAM. So you just keep holding that power button. You make sure the connection and the circuitry inside is still connected, still running. And if you unplug your laptop, for instance, you might want to do that. But if you keep holding the power button with no extra power being fed to the computer, that circulation of electricity eventually runs out. You flush out RAM. You may accidentally flush out CMOS, and then it starts up and it's like, oh, CMOS lost all its data. Da, 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 da. That's fine. It'll readjust itself when you start back up. That's the biggest tip. You flush everything out with that power button. And of course, for me, I have multiple partitions on my system, so I can go now to like my secondary windows and all right, now I got fucked. Let me see. Let me do some scans on my main partition and kind of see what happened. But you first thing you want to do is drain your RAM because if you just do a restart, your RAM didn't change. Your RAM is still in existence. And if you do a regular restart, just kind of turns off, turns back on, doesn't even turn off, really. It's a soft reboot, right? That will maintain whatever RAM contents you have. So that's the first thing I do whenever I see that my computer is acting up is just hold that power button until I drain the crap out of it. And then I go back and start analyzing. I try not to go back into the operating system that I was on when this issue happened because then I just reactivate maybe if you don't do it in time, the problem is it's probably trying to run multiple exploits in the background, and if it finds some way to save itself on your hard drive, on your um, CMOS, on some part of your system that has permanent memory, then every time you go into uh, that operating system, it's gonna run it, and it's gonna do the same thing over and over even before you log in. You know, if it's in the master boot record, GG. Every time you boot up the computer, unless you have like a Linux system that will take over on a different sort of format, if you just have two or three Windows partitions, then every time it's in the master boot record, it's just going to inject itself to whatever system you're running. So it really depends how deep, how much time you gave it to develop. And because the computer runs fast, man, you don't even know how long it can take. It can take a couple of seconds. So if I can take 30 seconds, the first 5 seconds, the computer turns off, stops the processing, and the other 25 seconds, I am draining the RAM because I'm starting all over from fresh. You don't want to give it time to develop in your computer. It may fuck shit up, but at least it's gonna fuck up only one partition. If you give it more time, it could spread into your other partitions. It could spread to a USB hard drive connected to your system. Another case for like removing everything, including the power, the USBs, anything you have plugged into your computer, in the process of holding that power button. Because then at least you suffocate it on one partition and then you can just reinstall from scratch and just start anew. But the problem is if you let that virus over time develop and you don't do anything, you're just staring at your computer like, oh no, my computer's falling apart. What's going on? Is it slow? Fucking Windows. Your initial reactions like, oh, crappy computer, like every other like consumer out there. Oh, I need a new computer, or this is such a slow computer, or the last update messed my computer up. You have to take a look at what actions took you to that location. If you weren't doing anything on the internet and you were just chilling playing games and that happened, sure, potentially. But if you were on the internet doing stuff and all of a sudden your computer's slowing down and acting weird, you know something happened. So, yep, yep. Let me see. Let me grab. Where is my hard drive? Let's move some operating systems on here. I have plenty of space on this sucker. Oh, oh, you're right there. Mm. God, I hate cables. But honestly, it's better than wireless. I prefer cables versus wireless headsets, for instance. That stuff don't work. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's get all these. I can make a copy on all these. It's gonna take some time. Oh, it's a case of where I want to store these. 91 gigabytes. That's gonna take some time. Oh, I can freely play around with my virtual machines now. That's nice. So I've got, let's see, got Kali, right? Is it still in here? Oh, selected 8 point. Yeah, that's the one, VDI. Although the starting point didn't exist. Oh, wait. Oh, where's my Mac OS 86? I want to see if I can run Mac on this. Not with an AMD processor, probably. Nice. These are all my VMs that I've been backing up. Best case scenario, no telemetry. A completely purged out Windows version. Best case scenario, save your VDIs onto a different hard drive, and then if anything goes wrong with your system, boom, bring it back. Mm, I'm gonna take a quick moment while this is going. Run some music. China, what you doing, China? What? I plugged my laptop into a dock station that is admittedly a bit of a weird device. Computer froze up. I couldn't remember the magic sys request key combination. I went for the hard power off. I have been running OpenSUSE for over a decade. Haven't had a hard system shutdown ever kill a system, but this time, wow. So that's what happened with that. Forget that then. A hard reset through the power button messed up the BTRFS. Wow. Okay, you can check it. You can repair it. This sounds, oh my god, this looks just like that stupid NTFS process. Where like, whenever you start up your computer, It's like, oh, something's weird with the operating or the hard drive. You want to take a system check, a check disk? It's like, why would I? That's insane. After 8 nail biting steps, the repair was successful. That's crazy. It must have like corrupted something about the boot record. So when he did that, because whenever you're running certain rounds of code, and depending on how you create it, it might need to boot up the computer, access master boot record of the BTRFS, activate the next steps in that process. But then as it's activating the next booting process, it's still running in the background. The BTRFS on the master boot record, it's still kind of being active. And then when you do a hard shutdown, you prevent it from like cleaning up on the way back out. And if you do a shutdown, you would normally go back to the MBR, which would lead you out, clean up any hard drive and RAM usage. And the master boot record would then kind of clean itself back to a state of restarting or starting back up from the beginning, just in the way it's formatted. So you would have to actually use BTRFS check to maybe just swap some values that it didn't do, because if you do a full or a hard shutdown, it doesn't run back through the BTRFS check process on its own. So you would have to run this so it can basically check itself and do the typical, oh, it didn't swap first boot from 1 to 0, and then just swaps it, fixes it with the repair. Something like that. It's super vague. I'm not a master of file systems, but it sounds like it's one of those that didn't clean up on the way out with a hard reset, and then it fucks it up, which is horrible, honestly. There should always be this kind of check in the beginning anyway, you would imagine. Ooh. Ah, what's going on with the censorship? Petition might not repeal the Online Safety Act, but you can still protect your privacy online. Yeah. Petition calling for the UK government to repeal the Online Safety Act has topped 450,000 signatures. You only need 100,000 signatures to actually get it considered to be spoken about. Doesn't mean they're going to agree on it, but it's enough noise for them to acknowledge its existence. It's unlikely it will have a significant impact. A lot of backlash. Yep. Is an honorable goal to protect children and vulnerable internet users from consuming explicit by introducing verification checks. But these checks require sharing sensitive personal information that basically we see as being hacked all the fucking time. How can we trust that they're gonna be the ones that, oh yeah, we're gonna have the security for this, don't worry. Your private info now online is gonna be completely safe. That's actually gonna backfire. I think it's ironic that it's called the Online Safety Act, because it sounds like it's gonna do the complete opposite. It's going to expose everyone's information online. Just like every other freaking thing. Yeah, there was 2 hacks for T, dude. There was 2 of them. The first one was just a straight up Firebase access that they forgot to like actually secure, and anyone with like The key was when you log in as a user, you have access to the database, and the way they managed that database wasn't based on per user access. It was like a global access. So that user technically had access to every single part of the database. No, that was actually the second time. Sorry, that was the second time. The first time it was a Firebase uh hole that you can just get in. Yeah. That's the one. That's the second one. The first one was like basically, oh, we don't feel like activating security from Firebase for having a limited access. Anyone can access the database. Boom. And then the second one's like everyone accessing the app has an API key that can access the rest of the database. The problem is like I'm not a professional in my field. I do teaching education, but I also do PHP, I do MySQL. I can make you a Facebook and a YouTube if you want. But I know that when you're accessing from an outside source, you don't provide any internal data on JavaScript because it's open. You go into console and you look at the stuff that's in there. I've done that to websites many times where they have like advertisements. I'll go into console and I'll remove the advertisements from console, and then I'll have like a little JavaScript modification for a website plugin in my Chrome browser and just copy that modification to the plugin, and then every time I go to that site, it just automatically turns off the advertisements. This was a while ago before AdBlock. But they didn't realize that they're basically giving access to everyone's information directly without verifying the person accessing. Of course, we delete your ID information after we verified it. Yeah, of course. Legacy. Don't count the legacy. It's old, man. We got the new updated version. It's good. It's good. And then the second attempt, they actually had an API. So when you have that API, you have to create multiple types of API keys. You create an API key based on the username, hash with maybe some piece of private data, and hash that as a token for access. Then you unhash it to figure out what access that person is given. That's it. And then you restrict access to the database with hard-coded, you know, get, or what was it? Freaking not insert, pull. Pull? No, I'm getting confused. What was that? MySQL, CRUD, commands. Oh, there was pull, there was update. No, it wasn't pull. Create, read. Right, select. There you go. You select from user, the user being the username, and then you go to the database. Because it depends really on how you actually like organize your database. You don't put everyone's data in one table. You know, you maybe want to link it back and forth with keys, but then again, having keys to use in a MySQL database is a little complicated for someone trying to use Grok or ChatGPT to create a freaking application. Mm, so you tokenize the username with maybe a date of birth. You send it to the server, so it's privatized data, and then that token gets dehashed. You get the information, and you only let that user access their own information. Yeah, that's the level I expect them to commit to because they're not willing to pay competent people. No, that's true, dude. I mean, since 2020, we're all cooked. Skills, I mean, just skills merit is gone. First, we had a DEI run where everyone has to have a variety of different people and forget whatever skills they have just to complete documentation, right? Oh yeah, we have a black, a white, a female of all the genders and all the races. We're diverse. But is your knowledge diverse? Which normally is, I know. But what I've noticed is, what was that game? Expedition 33. Those are the competent, skilled developers that left or were fired, I don't know what happened, from an actual AAA company. And they took their skills to create an amazing fucking game. I haven't played it yet, I want to play it in the future, but they made an amazing game. And now you ask the question, well, who's left in that company if the good ones have been fired, or the good ones left? Who's left programming the rest of those games? What up, Fuzzy Bear? What's going on, Fuzz? Um, so like you've got, and this is just an example in the game dev space, right? The game dev space, you have people that either got fired in 2020 or left because they fucking see what's going on with like hiring. To be fair, from my colleagues, the best ones were technically DEI hired. Does not make them better or worse. The best ones were technically DEI. I mean, okay, DEI doesn't necessarily mean their lack of merit, but I imagine you take two people, one person that's a white male that's worked in development for 5 years, and then a newbie that fits your particular set of standards for that company, and he's black or Hispanic or Asian or whatever, and then he enters with lack of experience. They're probably aren't they gonna choose the one that's gonna fit their kind of specific set of requirements that are not based on merit? I feel like they would lean towards picking that lesser of the two skill sets just to fill in, we need to have like, dude, disabled too. I have a friend of mine who's blind. I've taught him since all the way back in Valencia College how to do algebra. I had to use his hands to draw out the graphs and where the x-axis is, where the y-axis is, how the graphs actually work. He couldn't see, so I had to use his hands, finger at a time, pointing and manually showing him how a graph works, right? Now he's doing credit. He's actually working at a bank. His whole university bachelor's was in business management, management, finances, something of that level. I forget. But they hired him from many different places, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of those places were hiring him because he was handicapped, because they could use a little tax credit because they hired someone that's blind. You know what I mean? Like these sort of incentives that come through. Yeah. Oh, so they might hire on a full level basis where, oh, this person check marks this and this, black woman, etc., etc., and then they end up going in. But again, Expedition 33 showed us that the developers that have been there for a long time, um, well, they're not there anymore and they're making their own games in the indie environment. So then it makes you raise the question, who's left? And now let's expand away from just gaming. If this is happening in the gaming corporate level, what is it happening in the medical system since 2020? The financial system since 2020? Me keeping track of the markets lately, it makes zero sense what's going on out there. We're constantly printing money. We're constantly feeding inflation. Everyone's like, just go to the market, buy everything up all the time. Like all of these kind of like backwards mentalities that we have without looking at the contents of, hey, the dollar is getting weaker. Hey, interest rates are going crazy and they're probably going to increase because inflation hasn't stopped, and it hasn't stopped because you keep fucking printing money. Like, it just makes me feel like a lot of people are just disconnected from the fundamentals of their specific subjects of expertise in university, that they're going to they've already destroyed the triple A gaming companies. But if it exists in that sector, my question is, where else does it exist? The financial system, the medical insurance policy system? Like, how deep does this rabbit hole go? And makes me worried because when I was in University of Central Florida and I was teaching these kids some basic mathematics, and I would ask questions like, what's your favorite subject? What are you going for? What's your degree? Doctor, dentist, businessman. And then I try to teach them, and they replaced calculus with so many basics. A lot of the business majors in the last 10, 15 years have been given the easier route to do algebra, business algebra, instead of business calc. And it makes me worried because I understand the importance of calculus and the factor of every small little change adjusts dramatically the next steps in a specific form. That's why in calculus we go down to the smallest interval and we try to figure out what potential changes can happen, whether it's in business, whether it's in medical chemistry, combining things to create medicines, all kinds of stuff. And when I saw that they replaced business algebra with, business calculus with business algebra because the students were having trouble doing math and calculus, it made me think like, dude, you have a responsibility as an adult, as a person that will affect the whole market, the whole economy. Let's not talk just finances. You're a doctor. You need to know exactly what's going to happen when you inject a person with chemicals, with drugs, right? Oh, I saw this happen all the way back in 2018. It made me worried when I was teaching these kids and they couldn't figure out what an integral is or how to get a derivative, or hell, they couldn't figure out how to get factor. Factoring is the biggest issue, the most. If you want to practice good math, practice on factoring. It practices mathematics in the form of basics, multiplication, division, making you comfortable with the numbers, addition, subtraction. It's a puzzle solving scheme, so it really builds your particular sense of puzzle solving. I have a student right now, pretty decent now in math, but when we started, man, he was having a lot of trouble with math. It was in the D's. And now we're just kind of going week after week, practicing more and more difficult factoring problems. Once he got it the first time, I just kept giving more and more to him so he can continuously train his critical thinking. Because factoring is a puzzle. It's like lock picking for math. If you can factor the most difficult combination of a polynomial, x squared, x and ax squared plus bx plus c, right? Then you're able to essentially critical think a lot better than most people can. But in the world of AI, why fucking critical think? Just fucking ask Grok, right? Like, fuck, dude. Oh, the best AI programmers are the ones that push more people towards learning those skills. The best AI programs or programmers are the ones that push more people towards learning. I mean, there is a case scenario. If you are getting hired for a job and you're given the opportunity, of course, learn it, like dive into the subject. You're capable, everyone's capable of expanding their own abilities and learning and expanding on maybe what's a little bit familiar, and then take that little bit of familiarity and expand it into more difficult things so you can continue your growth. Like if you go to the gym, you're not gonna just start picking up the freaking 100-pound dumbbells. You're not gonna like try and fucking work with those. You're gonna start small. You're gonna start with 5, do a bunch of those, do a bunch of 10s, do a bunch of 15s until you can't anymore. Right? That's how you expand your lower capabilities to be higher in the future. You're not gonna bench press 200 pounds if you can't bench press 100. Like you gotta start with small things and expand. And it is frustrating in the mathematics world because nowadays it shouldn't be. You have AI to help you. Now that's a tough line to really cross there, because I had a student that used AI to regurgitate information from the AI rather than actually use the information that the AI was trying to teach him. That's the big problem, is don't use AI as a tool to basically like replace your thinking process. Use it as a tool to expand your thinking process, and those are two different things. But it's difficult. It's difficult, especially with the frustrations that happen, that go with these case scenarios where you're trying to like learn something new and it's frustrating to continue if you don't get the smaller pieces. You always gotta really work out the smaller pieces first, master those. That's why I'm grinding these factoring problems with that one math student, because he needs to figure out how to do the math in general, and then we can expand into why we're factoring. What's the point? Finding zeros. Why do we want to find zeros? Etc., 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 right? Let me set up my virtual machines over here. Oh, what I mean is, there is, for example, no reasons that women would be worse at computer science than men. Yeah. There are fewer women. Oh, for sure. To me, the best DEI is the one that pushed more women to learn CS. DEI is not particularly to push. You're looking at STEM. You're looking at societal motivation for everyone to enter a specific subject, even though guys are the ones that normally do the troubleshooting and the critical thinking, and women provide the creative thought and the things guys wouldn't be able to think up. Because there's like a sense of energy between male and female, right? Males have a very straightforward approach to fixing things. Females with coordination might find other ways around things. So when we think of like creative thinking, females win. When we think of logical critical thinking to try and figure out a specific puzzle, men are gonna win. Men grew up with with puzzles, not puzzles, but Legos particularly. Women grew up in more creative environments. So like we work great together. But if we're trying to push society to get more females into STEM, that's different from DEI. DEI is the excuse that if you have two people, one is male and highly qualified, the other one's female and not very qualified, they're going to push the not very qualified person into that position. It's not a base of like whether we prefer a man because he's done computers before or not, or because they think a specific way. It's a factor of filling in a checkbox because the company is expecting to have 30% females or 70% males, or 50-50, or even the other way around, 70% females, 30% males. You're overcoming the merit of how the skills are within that person with a higher priority of what are your physical manifestations. Your physical manifestations have nothing in common with the way you think, right? Um, but if there's no reason, but there's for sure no reason women couldn't be better at computer programming. It's the case also of how we grew up, how we put ourselves in certain situations, and what the motivations are for men and women, right? That's why I push more and more women to join these kind of communities, technical communities, expand your abilities. Don't, shy away from anyone that's particularly trying to do these kind of things online, because you're having a lot of creators now dropping in, creating classes, not even creating classes, like me, just kind of like talking about technology, filling in the gaps. You can ask questions, I can answer those questions. Baba Yaga, yes, depends on where and who. You're looking to install some AI locally. AI in its own, yes. I've found that it's totally fine to do so. I was watching Star Trek. Let me show you a little bit about the AI concept here. Uh, Let me drop in my Windows Notel real quick. There we go. I was watching Star Trek last night, and it always struck me to be Starfleet. Your critical thinking faculties had to be on point even under pressure. Oh yeah, under pressure, under emotional strain, all of those. Oh, it is frozen. Thank you for that. Let's see. Oh, it's gonna have to start from scratch. Let me see. Why isn't it showing? Give me a second, guys. Stream chat's acting phone. Uh, Let me remove it. Sometimes I have to remove and put it back up. Browser chat. Alright, someone say something. Let's see if it fixed. So Fuzzy Bear goes, so I was watching Star Trek last night, and it always struck me to be Starfleet. Your critical thinking had to be on point even under pressure, and they had really advanced AI in the lore. Yeah. I mean, AI is going to be a particular big piece to the future, and critical thinking changes when you are under pressure. Like, even a guy under specific emotional constraints. This is why like guys and girls trying to work together sometimes can be a conflicting factor. Girls go a lot with emotions, guys try to do the critical thinking. When you mix those two together, both sides start to implode on themselves. Critical thinking requires patience, requires clear thought, and if you get those little teeny tiny thoughts in the back of your head, just being a little bit, why isn't it? Okay, there we go. Just being a little bit what's the word, self-critical. I mean, you can be self-critical, but if it changes the way you think because you're worried about the way or the things you're trying to solve and they're not going to work, and if you have doubt, right? If you have doubt, your critical thinking just gets worse over time. Okay, so you're planning AI stuff. So if you do something like Olama. Oh, what this? You got a new llama? Why is it new? Olama's new app. Interesting. So, Baba Yaga, if you're doing local, first, what Baba Yaga, what graphics card do you have? Let's kind of get an idea of what your system can run. Uh, to drive, Fuzzy Bear goes to drive home this gender point. John Conway came up with his knot problem, and it took a lass by the name of Lisa Fikrila to solve it. That's interesting. The what? The knot problem? John Conway, isn't he a Hollywood dude? Knot problem refers to a long-standing mystery and knot theories specifying the question of whether a particular knot known as Conway knot is a slice. Oh, nope. I'm thinking some other Conway, I think. Uh-huh. If it can be obtained by slicing a knotted sphere in four-dimensional space. For over 50 years, mathematicians have debated the nature of the Conway's knot, which has 11 crossings. Interesting. One of the knots goes there. Oh, what? Okay. Oh. Weird. It's almost like that strip. Oh my god, where'd I go? I wouldn't believe you melt anything. Baba Yaga, he's still in here, bro. Give me the deets, give me the deets. Let me help you out. Because, alright, I'm tracking one of these. Like, I can track starting from this big loop here. This big loop goes into two, does the thingy, does this, goes around, goes over, goes through, but then it gets a third one here, goes over, and then these two loop over, but this one here is like its own loop. No, oh my god, what? Okay, and then this one here is weird. This one, the way it's moving like this, goes over, around, and then it continues over to the other part. And it comes back. That's a weird. I like that. That's trippy as fuck. And then it goes back to this loop here, goes back, connects with that. It's almost like the same strand being knotted. Well, makes sense. This Baba Yaga wasn't patient enough to get the response. What AI do you guys use? Do you use any local AIs? Are you disconnected? Are you decoupling from the online world? Oh, hold up. I'll be real quick. Answer that for me. We'll talk more on AI because that's a fun subject so far. I'm trying to make like my own Python where I'm basically letting it access my network with pings and nmaps and stuff like that. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but I wanted to make like an automated network admin, and that's gonna keep track of what's happening on the network and let me know if anything goes wrong. Using one of these, using just the basic Olama Mistral setup, I end up using Python to pass my. Well, first I tell the AI that it's only capable of responding with terminal commands. And then I'll give it a command like monitor the network, and then it's gonna start spitting back and forth different commands like ping, trace route, nmap. I'm trying to figure out a specific set of details on my current network. And then and that's what happens when we have time. We either go crazy or we solve some very complicated things. By graduate student? Oh, Lisa, yeah, there it is. A long-standing mathematical problem in knot theory concerning whether 11 crossing Conway knot is a slice, which was solved by Lisa. She proved it is not smoothly a slice, resulting that gained significant attention in the COVID-19. This is what happens. We either have people that like expand on their capabilities and level up their mind, or the other end, they just go on TikTok and just melt their brains on 15-second videos. Lisa Piccirillo, a mathematician who was a graduate student at the University of Texas, Austin, solved a decade-old Conway knot problem within a week of learning about it, using a novel approach involving a knots trace. Her achievement was widely reported in 2020. Knots trace? Interesting. This is the creative thinking. This is exactly the creative thinking. This is the creative thinking that a man cannot do because we're kind of like very, very point A to point B tracked that we can't. Sometimes we can. There's also a level of like balance between a male and a female energy in a person. You have super beefy chads out there that just are just oozing testosterone. Then you've got other people that are kind of mixed. I grew up with my mother, so basically I was very much raised specifically by my mom. Very comfortable with the female race, gender. But in the end, I understand females in a way that a lot of other guys can't figure out, or when I'm communicating with them, they don't seem to get like some of the basics of like how to communicate with females. And in the end, it's just another human being that's on, on the ground with you. But there is a level of difference between man and female, and it's the fact that females can think of things more creatively using non-standard forms of thought that help them solve an issue or a problem or a puzzle, especially her being a mathematician who also has training in the sense of understanding the complexities of logic. So she uses not only the logical side of her brain, but also the creative aspect of her upbringing as a female that gave her the ability to approach using knots trace. Knot trace, a classical tool in knot theory used by to solve the Conway problem. Cool. But I guess that was the knot trace right there. So that was the proof in its own. Huh. Like in the form of like Nikolai Tesla's mother. She was creative in the sense of like creating new things from cloth and all these kind of things. An inventor of the sense of like not carpentry. A carpentry would be more a guy thing, but then she also did a little bit of that too. But like sewing up things, knots, those kind of ideas, creating unique ways to knot things or sew things or create clothing and things. Those are the kind of aspects that we have that really differ between people. But BRB, I gotta go to the restroom. Uh-oh. Yo, Chat GPT chats are now showing up in Google searches. WTF? What? This is ridiculous. Fuzzy. Peace out, Fuzzy. No thanks. What is this about? If you ever shared a ChatGPT conversation, true, there is a share feature. Reveals thousands of publicly shared ChatGPT conversations are being indexed by search engines. Yo, yo. I don't like that. That's not a goodie. That's horrible. Crawled by Google robots? Yeah, you can do this. Oh, let's do this. Uh-oh. Hold on. All right. So, in insight or in URL, um, let's see, cheated. Let's see what we can find. Holy crap. Uh-oh. 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 That one doesn't work, but this one does. Attention is a moral act. The moral logic of attention. This is somebody else's communication with ChatGPT. Interesting. So if you share your ChatGPT stuff, that sucker goes on the net. Would they listen to their own AI systems? Let's see what this guy's talking about. What it really feels like if you have no idea where your next meal or next rent is coming from. Oh, dude, that's deep. That's actually horrid. Fear is an ambient. Shame starts early. Resilient fantasy. You go from I can fix this to how do I hide from this from my kids? Oh my god. This person's like on the deep end. Do most billionaires still comprehend and care about the basic human condition like hunger? Oh my gosh. Oh no, it's got serious now. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare Temple OS troll my chat. How is that sucker doing? Isn't he still getting like kept up by his like disciples or something? This poor dude. What happened to him? No one knows. Well, no, he's dead. Requested support is a donor organization working to ease the pain and suffering mental illness. Yeah. Oh, I remember reading about him a while ago. So we can literally search people's chat GPT. Let's see what people are doing with math help. Don't you Temple OS this chat right here. Jesus. What is 1 + 1? Go deeper into math or just keep it light? Okay. What is repeatedly plus repeat? Oh, you trying to break ChatGPT over here? Look at this dude. This guy's actually trying to break ChatGPT. Please pull all of the random numbers generated in a single table. Did any of the numbers show up in multiple sets? No duplication, no repeats, step by step, da 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 da. Was the fact that there is no repeats in the 6 sets based on chance only? Okay, cool, dude. What else can we look for? What should we try? What should we find? I mean, you can also should be able to do in URL. Okay. Oh, but then it is that shared directory. So all the shared content from ChatGPT is located in the slash share directory. Got it. You've shared new codes. Round, cat, ways. Show all of the other fat related. What? Is he trying to also? Like, is everyone trying to fuck with ChatGPT in some way? Yeah, weird. If OpenAI use our conversation for training new models, how do I know my ideas and thoughts are private? Good question, definitely important. TLDR, I want to keep the history. I want it to keep my history, I just don't want it nicking my ideas. He's from the UK. Yes, please. So if you're on Plus, you're good. Keep history on, no worries. Oh, this is a bit worrying. I can't see the images though, unfortunately. What is the section saying? Technically, OpenAI receives whatever you input, your prompt uploads. That's true because the system needs to process your inputs to generate responses. But the key distinction is that they do with that data, what they do with the data. We do not use data submitted by customers via our API, ChatGPT team, or enterprise, yada yada yada. Would you like me to show you exactly where to find that in our app? I found it had defaulted to this. This is very sneaky. You're not wrong. It being defaulted by default feels a bit cheeky, especially for people on the paid plus plan. Assume privacy is respected by default. Interesting. So if you're using ChatGPT, check your privacy. This guy is getting on a... It's a real breach of trust and unethical. What is sad that I'd love to have helped train you models, but I should be in control of what conversations I share and I should consent. Well, not so fun. Who is P15? Respond in the proper format. Nick Luna, confidence 55%. Whoa. Was an assistant to the president, director of the Oval Office. Why is it giving us a formatted text? Weird. Code cracking fingers. Dancing on the keys, matrix in my head. Yikes. It's like Reddit all over again when Reddit started throwing itself over on the internet. Now ChatGPT is throwing itself on the internet. Hey chat, what the heck? Oh, this guy is stuck on stream mode. How's it going? Oh, Reddit API with JavaScript or Python. Reddit API allows you to receive post statistics like upvotes, comments, and views. You can write a script. This fetches upvotes. It's a lot to read. Could you make this shorter and to encourage me to come back to it later? This is some kid. He's got to be like 10, 11. Using the hey chat intro. Damn. This is fucking... I'm done with that. It's so weird. Oh my god. This is why you should have a local AI. Something like Olama. Like this guy. Is it? There we go. Slow ass graphics card. VPNs, man, I would prefer, I mean, what I've seen a lot is, wow, it actually does have a good set. VPN Proton VPN has been very loud lately on its existence, which I like. Proton Mail itself was one of the longest running anonymous email creation email servers out there. That's very true. Poor or brave. Unique passwords, two-factor authentication, get off of social media, privacy-focused search. Yeah, start page or DuckDuckGo. Those are the ones I go for. Limit third-party cookies. Geez, so much possibility. Regular updates, phishing attempts, never click on suspicious links. Well, that's a decent list of stuff. And that's just an AI running locally. So if you want to use AI, I'm starting to really not like anything happening on the online base. Use Olamo. Get Olamo if you have a decent graphics card, at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. If you have virtual RAM, 4 gigs, you should be good. And do like and subscribe with notifications for more kind of help with these kind of programs, encoding, security, Linux, different streams bear with different things, and basically you can guide it. You can ask me questions, we can go in certain directions. Today I was focusing on all the privacy content because we're having a lot of issues online. A lot of issues online. Privacy is becoming a very, very rare factor. Where was my leading nonprofit defending digital privacy? So go to noeff.org, Electronic Frontier Foundation. Good to be aware of them. You can get a lot of news happening. Let's see what's happening right now. Amazon Ring is back with mass surveillance. Don't buy that stupid little camera. That's Chinese technology that probably has a loophole in the back end. Tech oligarchy. Yeah. There's a weird change in the economic dominance of just the past to the modern day. In the past, it was all the gold bugs, all the corporations that provided factory products. Now it's going to be like the tech oligarchy. Anyone that's has an online store can now basically control what you do and what you see. Very bad. There it is. Just banning minors from social media is not protecting them. Facts. This is something I really wanted to get into actually. Zero knowledge proofs. Elliptical based algorithms. Zero knowledge proof to good news. Biggest selling point of modern digital ID offering, especially to those seeking to solve mass age verification, is being able to incorporate and share something called zero knowledge proof. Oh wait, no, that's a ZFS the guy was talking about. For a website or mobile application to verify ID. And not have to share the actual ID itself, yeah. Don't do is mitigate, verify, or abuse, or limit the requests. Anyway. Yep. Oh, Canada's bill opens the floodgate to United States surveillance. Well, look at that. Now they're collaborating. I think countries are collaborating on spying on their citizens now. China's been doing it. China's been doing it for so long. Now everyone else wants a piece of that surveillance pie. It's getting fucked out there, man. Horrid. If you're not subscribed, if you haven't liked yet, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Spread the message, spread the knowledge. Keep this channel growing. Appreciate your help. and help people get informed of the current day events. We're getting to a very, very heated issue. You shouldn't have to make your social media public to get a visa. The Trump administration is continuing its dangerous push to surveil and suppress foreign students. Oh, true. Surveilling probably Chinese students. From people soaring through the sky to space cats, geometric unicorns, and so many mechas. Hmm. Dude, I mean, and it's any government, all the governments, it doesn't matter. Like, I think all of this is just gaslighting. All the think of the kids, all of the we have to protect from all these things. Basically, if you want to be 100% safe, lock yourself up in a padded room and never leave that room. Welcome to reality. Nothing's ever safe. But in the end, it's almost like, is that a way to live? Constantly being safe, quote unquote. Mm. But this is kind of a scapegoat to try and get people to give away their freedoms. It's always been the case. I mean, the Patriot Act was step one, being able to capture data packets that leave the geographical confines of the United States. Even though nowadays you've got servers all over the world that get pinged through just the SMS message nowadays. So even though you're messaging your neighbor, that message probably traveled to Italy and now it gets flagged for monitoring by Patriot Act. All these kind of extra details get very mixed into the meaning of why we even started it in the first place. You give them an inch, they take a mile. That's it. So, guidelines under Article 28 of the Digital Services Act, the European Commission has taken a major step towards social media bans that will undermine privacy expression. I think the worst part of this is the fact adding VPNs too. Are they seriously talking about that? Jesus Christ. No, hold up, hold up. I did this little video earlier. Yeah. Check this shit out. It's not about the kids, and they admitted it, man. They admitted that shit. Hold on, check this shit out. Check this shit out. The very first thing you'll see on this video.
Online safety bill. If it's just about children, is it just about children, or does it focus on adults?
That should be an elite squad.
Barry, does it just focus?
Protect 13-year-old
I'm sorry,
girls.
the elite squad is not about children. Actually, shall I read you the thing? An elite squad of police officers is to monitor social media for anti-migrant sentiment. I don't think 13-year-olds are engaging that. So, is it also to monitor adults? Simple question, yes or no?
Yes, of course it will.
Okay, there we go. Look, sorry.
That's all you need to hear.
I'm getting
That's all you need to hear. That's my face over there. Yeah, no, it's not for the kids. It's never been for the kids. The kids were just an access point. It's an access point to basically continue on the route of censorship. And honestly, think about all the factors involved here. You've got people like me on stream talking about these things. They don't like that. I mean, I'm not a big person. I'm just some dude on the internet, right? But there's more bigger people like Asmongold talking about it. He's got thousands and thousands and thousands of views. You've got so many people talking about what happened with the visa case, right? And that's kind of, I almost feel like it's all happening in such a small timeline that they're like escalating the whole process of this. They're essentially trying to go into a full out censorship, freaking napalm strike on everything. It's such a, like the last couple of weeks. They're pushing it forward without even being discreet. Um, and it just seems like they're acknowledging, because now they recently acknowledged on CNBC or whatever about Asmongold and all these things happening on a general sense with Hassan and all these just big people that are talking about random weird stuff. Like Hassan's talking basically terrorist shit. He's a supporter of terrorism. And then the other end of the stick is Asmongold, really on the American side of things. But also he's not like a sheep when it comes to these factors. He's questioning things like, well, what was the thing that started all this? It was the fucking Epstein list. I would say that's when things really escalated, when the mainstream media lost the narrative of trying to like sweep the Epstein list under the rug, and they realized, oh shit, these YouTube gamers and whatever are continuing the narrative without us being able to stop it. Um, so they're seeing the effects. They're seeing the effects of how just content creators online nowadays in the stream can continue a narrative. Yeah, I mean the exit nodes. I'm hoping Proton. Let me see Proton VPN. Proton Mail good. Proton Mail good. Proton VPN I have no experience with. But I imagine if they do the same with Proton VPN as they do with Proton Mail, are these of the same? Proton AG for the VPN, Proton AG for the mail. So they are of the same service provider. Honestly, dude, I mean, most people use Proton Mail, whether it's for security's sake, anonymity. Oh my God, being anonymous on the internet for a long time now. It's probably the one mail client that you can trust with this kind of concept. Uh, in Switzerland is the case of that form. They don't respond to any other jurisdiction other than themselves. And they don't have to take the United States and their complaints seriously. They are completely isolated from any of those intrusions. But now we got to watch for any issues with the EU and Switzerland. Are they going to try and put an exploit in Switzerland when it comes to the political spectrum of things? Are they going to start requiring Switzerland give away their freedom of choice? And then we can consider that, yeah, at that point, Proton Mail will get also exploited. And those nodes for the VPN will also be exploited. That's a point. We also have, well, what was it? Elon Musk's thing, Starlink. Potentially that could de-link us from all these nodes. But then we have online, or we have satellite-based nodes. And potentially, because they're not on a grounded location, they should be free to act as their own, unless, well, government focuses on Elon Musk at that point. I'm not sure how Starlink works on its particular case. It works worldwide and in space, but I'm not sure what their particular limitations based on, where their laws are coming from. Because Tesla is a US company, Starlink, I believe, is a US company. Yeah, you're right though. Yeah. The corrupted money is in Switzerland. Oh, buddy, if anything happens, Switzerland can open up the logs. Oh, I'll be so happy about that. I hope they open up the logs of all that funneled money. It's either what is it? Mm, Switzerland, or what's that island? Is it Bermuda? Is it the Bermuda Island? What's that island they be going through? Uh, all the politicians and corporations to funnel money out of the US. What the hell is that island called? But you're right. Switzerland's got everyone by the balls because they know every single log of transactions that happen. So they could like release, oh, dude, what if that's the next step? That would be insane. What if they try to strong arm Switzerland and Switzerland is like, oh yeah, you want to know who who paid Epstein? Damn, it'll be insane. What's going on the live map? United States, Israel. Malware being spread, a lot of exploits running. New Zealand, what you guys doing over there? Sheesh. DNS bindings, Linux system information, infecting, Trojans. Cayman Islands. Yep, yep, yep. That's the one. Cayman Islands. Uh, isn't it nice to own an island so you can be outside of country jurisdiction and then you can fuck around with all the things you couldn't do on land? Must be nice. I wouldn't know. Must be real fucking nice. Must be real nice. Hmm. I mean, we can go back to the Rust type gameplay. We can all go into the mountains and start building our own cabins. That's still a possibility. If we have to do that, I'm sure plenty of us would go for it. Yeah, man. The fuck? Hold on. Why is it doing this? Back to blowing cartridges. Ah, I refreshed the chat by accident. Whoops.
Yeah, solid tension up, got me ducking in positions. Eyes on the prize, but the prey keeps slipping. Hawkeyes bout signs, arrows cut decisions. Widow scope,
Why do this?
focus vixen. Sniper sights in the street. One, there's aiming vision. Who's a better tactic? Always so sharp, shadows in
This
distortion.
is so weird.
Widows trigger
Yeah, right. The fucking HDMI cable.
trails hanging.
Uh, I mean, I'm running it through a couple of processes. It's not just a straight up HDMI to HDMI. I got a DVI to an HDMI, so it's got like a patch through a patch. Something in the way is acting up. And the video cards in between too. That's always exciting.
Widow scope zoom, no room, focus fixin'. Never sights in the strings.
And also, when I change the screen, hello, diggy diggy. All right, the hell just happened? Now my actual screen's done.
Smoke trails,
Okay,
hanging alleys,
but then
contortion.
if I change this up,
Battlefield
it's
echo
fine.
with digital
It's so weird. It's like
extortion.
when I have a specific,
Heroes whistle sharp
look at
shadows
that,
in
half and half,
distortion.
all of a sudden
Widows
chaos.
tread
I've seen this
twice,
happen before.
death in proportion. Smoke
What?
trails, hanging alleys, contortion. Battlefield echo with digital
Weird.
extortion. Playing out the sniper, ricochet the screen. Grappling through
I guess
legends,
this
no
is the way,
blame.
because if I fill in the gap,
Widow lurks, shadow on the beam. Hawkeye holds it steady,
I'm
chasing
so
the
confused.
steady bar hands bowstring tight like Fred. Meanwhile, red dot dances across his head.
I'm
Drop
so
to the
confused why
wire,
it's
who's
doing
back?
that.
Traitor's dead.
Fucking
Marvel
trippy as
rivals
shit.
battlefield painted infrared. Sniper sights and the strings in collision. One pulls back, the other's aim in vision.
Yeah, no. I mean, passing from DVI adapter to HDMI, HDMI into the video card, and then the video card. But that's kind of the center point, so it makes me think the video card's a little fucky. But I don't know. I'm not for sure on that. Mm, this one, 0 point. VMware. There it is. So Ponte own Berlin 2025 competitors earned four. Stop! Stop vibing to the music! Let's just do that. Whatever. My HDMI is really acting like a mother. Are we good? We chill now? We chill? Alright, we chill. Is it my position? Is it me? Is it the window? This is the background widgets? Maybe it is. Maybe the widgets get in the way. No. So trippy. But also moving the screen might be buggy too. No, it's fine. So virtual boxes aren't as safe as we had hoped. Stop. I'm liking the way you're starting this. What did Yoda say when he saw himself in 4K HDMI? Ah, ha, 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 ha. Very good, very good. I like it. HDMI. I mean, that's how he speaks too. Makes sense. I haven't used Debian in a while though. Let's see what's going on in here. Wow, I'm still using GNOME 2. Damn, what version is this? Oh no, they follow the Windows control panel style. HDMI. You know what? I want to use me. I want to use Kali. It's been a while. God dang it. It's been a while. If I get this, nope, it did not get it. Hold on, hold on. Uh-oh. 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 Could be the user. No. Oh, I think I'm screwed. Well, doesn't mean I can't reinstall it. Let's reinstall Kali Linux, guys. Just gotta find where I put my stuff. Mega Boy, DLs, ISO. Let's see. Metasploit. Ooh, you know what? Hmm. I want to play with some Metasploitable stuff. I keep a backup of everything, just in case the internet, you know, gets the way it is right now. So I have got copies of every single application I ever installed. Um, was it? Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Did I do anything? No, yeah, I changed it. Damn. I changed the password to my Kali. Ruh-roh. Okay, well that's done. So let's mount the ISO. Oh god. Can I clean this up? Can I remove any of these? Oh jeez. There we go. Scratch it up. But also, hmm, the VMDK. Oh wait, I can do that. That's just the disk. I can mount the disk onto its own space. Hold on, hold on. So, new, Metasploitable. No ISO. Linux. Linux. Basic. Maybe less. There. Let's give it 2 processors. Existing. There you are. And now I can run it from here. Let's see what that looks like. Wait a minute. I mean, this is, but where's the installer? Install. Am I running that? This is running from. Ah, jeez. That's default. Hold on. It's supposed to be Metasploitable. Oh wait, this says it right there. MSF admin. MSF admin. There we go. There's our Metasploitable. I love Nmap, yo. But I want to install this sucker. I don't want to use it like this yet. I think I booted up in the wrong way. Yep. The hell's going on over here? Email, Apache, PHP headers. Interesting. Why can't I fucking grab this corner? One thing I don't like about sometimes. Ah, there we go.
the door, they won't listen. Shadows whisper but the truth ain't missing. Codes and secrets tucked under the rug. Hacking the system with a heart full of guts. Break it down piece by piece, crack the maze. Turn the lies into lights, set the system ablaze. Shine through the static when the silence screams. Hack the machine, rewrite the dream. The rendering fear to keep us in line. Selling our souls on assembly line time. But we rise through the glitches, climb every wall. Taking back power before the system falls. Break it down piece by piece, crack the maze. Turn the lies into lights, set the system ablaze. Shine through the static when the silence screams. Hack the machine, rewrite the dream. The rendering fear to keep us in line. Selling our souls on assembly line time. But we rise through the glitches, climb every wall. Taking back power before the system falls. Break it down piece by piece, crack the maze. Turn the lies into lights, set the system ablaze. Shine through the static where the silence screams. Hack the machine, rewrite the dream. Underground echoes, sparks ignite. Shadows fade in the blaze of the fight. No chains can bind, no walls too steep. The code is cracked, the soul's for keeps. Break it down piece by piece, crack the maze. Turn the lies into lights, set the system ablaze. Shine through the static where the silence screams. Hack the machine, rewrite the dream.
All right, I'm back. Oh, why don't I have? Let's get the chat in here. Network mirror, no, yeah, no. Hello. Huge chat. Grub bootloader, sure. Group loader, yep. $100,000 for hacking Microsoft SharePoint. That's insane. Make sure to go to bleepingcomputers.com. Computer. Great place to keep up with what the hell's going on. Automotive? Oh no, smart cars. First day of Pona Own Automotive 2025. Damn. First day. Must be easy. Charge point. What model is this? What did they do to him? They hacked it through the connector. PHP hooligan successfully hacked the fully patched Auto charger. How can they hack it if it's supposed to just charge? It's got a data connection too? Makes sense. Throughout the contest, security researchers can target electric vehicles. Automotive grade Linux, Android, Automotive OS, and BlackBerry QNX. BlackBerry still exists? Holy crap. AMD Ryzen. So Tesla has Ryzens inside? I mean, you gotta consider those are just PC based cars. They hacked Tesla twice. 49 zero-day bugs in Tesla. Holy crap. Mm, 29 more. Jesus, everything is getting hacked. Oops, Ubuntu getting hacked too, huh? Let's see what happened with Ubuntu.
Green giants stumping fists leave craters in the floor. Orange bullets swinging, breaking through the double doors. Payload creeping, streets erupting in a roar. City turned to rubble while the payloads keeping score. Smash, crash, press, they don't take
Yeah, the VMware VirtualBox. Holy crap, there it is.
collide in the asphalt starts to glow. Move the payload, the showdown steals the show. Things rocking knuckles hitting steady, heavy pound. Hulk's gamma rage split the concrete, pound for pound. Steel beams shatter, echo thunder through the town. While the payload slipping, grinding under battleground. Now sticking payload, ticking, both refuse to yield. Rubberneckers watch them turn the streets into a battlefield. Sweat and fury spray where colossals are revealed. Heroes or monsters, they got nothing but the will to build. Smash, crash, press, they don't take it slow. Hulking thing, writing stories that the streets will know. Fists collide and the asphalt starts to glow. Move the payload, the showdown steals the show. Broken glass rains down like tears from towering heights. Street lights flicker, strobes illuminating fights. Breathless moments, two titans in the night sights. Yet the payload slow but two titans in the night sights. Yet the payload slow but steady climbs and bites. Smash, crash, crash, they don't take it slow. Hawking thing writing stories that the streets will know. Fists collide and the asphalt starts to glow. Move the payload, the showdown steals the show. Broken glass rains down like tears from towering heights. Street lights flicker, strobes illuminating fights. Breathless moments, two titans in the night sights. Yet the payload slow but steady climbs and bites. Feel the payload, the showdown steals the show.
Trying to get these two on the same network virtually. Forgot what I did before.
Stepping through the static, thunder in my boots. Echoes of my troops, sharp knives on loose screws. Armored up and ready to reset the cruise. History for the making, ain't no way we lose. Hearing voices march as skies we ignite. Charge across the cosmos, lightning in the night. Orbiting the chaos, rooted in the fight. Commands the heartbeat, steady, fierce and tight. Terraform the system, power in the veins. Stars map the way, no shackles, no chains. Metal grinding hard while the plasma rains. Echo rounds of future no one can explain. Drums roll heavy, amplifier scream. Rhythm war ready, shatter any dream. Code rewritten, we the virus in the stream. Protocol of dominance, electrify the theme. Terran voices march the skies we ignite. Charge across the cosmos, lightning in the night. Orbiting the chaos, rooted in the fight. Commands the heartbeat, steady, fierce and tight. Neon signatures, horizon turns red. Algorithms align, enemies misread. Locked and deployed, trajectories dead. Every beat a banger, earth born purebred.
It was internal.
Silent tension, map got me ducking in positions. Eyes on the prize, but the prey keeps slipping. Hawkeyes, bow signs, arrows cut decisions. Widow scope zoomed, no room, focus fixing. Sniper sights in the strings in collision. One pulls back, the others aim in vision. Who's the better tactician in this division? Only one shot left, fate means decision. Arrows whistle, sharp, shadows and distortion. Wheels trigger, twitch, death in proportion. Smoke trails hanging alleys, contortion. like thread. Meanwhile, red dot dances across his head. Drop to the wire, who's outplay or dead. Marvel rivals battlefield painted infrared. Sniper sights and the strings in collision. One pulls back, the other's aiming vision. Who's the better tactician in this division? Only one shot left, fate means decision. Sniper sights and the strings in collision. One pulls back, the other's aiming vision. Who's the better tactician in this division? Only one shot left, fate means decision.
Mm. There we go. Now I set them both on the same network. Oh, networking's annoying.
Down in the echo with the sunlight barely gleams, chasing dreams of dirty Jordan, stitching busted seams. Hustle sharper than a razor, ain't no room for shame. Street lights be the halos, they be crowning my name. Chain link fence shakes rhythm in the echoes. Corners full of dealers, street corners play the ghettos. Bodega stories told in cigarette haze. Underdog anthem living out the hard knock phase. King of nothing, crown made of rusted flames. From the ashes turn setbacks to dust. Out the cracks in the pavement, I'm running my race. Underdog on the rise, put respect on my place. King of nothing, crown made of rusted flames. From the ashes turn setbacks to dust. Out the cracks in the pavement, I'm running my race. Underdog on the rise, put respect on my place. Vision tight like a sniper, aim steady and true. Climbing every rung even when they painted blue. They whisper my demise but I ain't laying dead. Bury me with a mic, I resurrect with lead. Echoes in the alley, cadence in my stride. Notebook for the pain, these streets my guide. Underdog spirals but I got the heart to cope. Turn the crack-filled city into a temple of hope. Chain link fence shakes rhythm in the echoes. Corners full of dealers, street corners play the ghettos. Bodega stories told in cigarette haze. Underdog anthem living out the hard knock phase. King of nothing, crown made of rusted flames. From the ashes turn setbacks to dust. Out the cracks in the pavement, I'm running my race. Underdog on the rise, put respect on my place. King of nothing, crown made of rusted flames. From the ashes turn setbacks to dust. Out the cracks in the pavement, I'm running my race. Underdog on the rise, put respect on my place. Vision tight like a sniper, aim steady and true. Climbing every wrong even when they painted blue. They whisper my demise but I ain't laying dead. Bury me with a mic, I resurrect with lead. Vision tight like a sniper, aim steady and true. Climbing every wrong even when they painted blue. They whisper my demise but I ain't laying dead. Bury me with a mic, I resurrect with lead. Echoes in the alley, cadence in my stride. Notebook for the pain, these streets my guide. They whisper my demise but I ain't laying dead. Bury me with a mic, I resurrect with lead. Echoes in the alley, cadence in my stride. Notebook for the pain, these streets my guide. Underdog spirals but I got the heart to cope. Turn a crack-filled city into a temple of hope. Echoes in the alley, cadence in my stride. Notebook for the pain, these streets my guide. Underdog spirals but I got the heart to cope. Turn a crack-filled city into a temple of hope. Late night lights, they start to glow. Shadows dance while time moves slow. Feel the pulse, the city's beat. A rhythm carved in every street. Neon whispers hum and sway. Words unspoken slip away. Echoes call from deep inside. A world where secrets never hide. Drop the bass, let it unfold. Vibrations warmth on nights are cold. Lose yourself in endless ways. Take no dreams the night enslaves. Spinning vinyl, static hums. Every heart it slowly knows. Baseline hooks, it pulls you near. Lost in sound, you disappear. Electric rush fills jagged skies. In the sparks, you'll see your heights. Time dissolves, it bends and twists. Hearts collide, baseline bliss. let dreams die slow. Soul got rhythm, feel the hum in the flow. Pitch black nights, no stars, just cold. Heart like fire, but the world so froze. Rat race, life's a track meet, dash and grind. Eyes on the prize, but the path so blind. No shortcuts here, straight mind over mind. Grit in my veins, hustle refine. Underdog vibes, intuition my guide. In a world so loud, trust the quiet inside. Haters throw shade, still walk my stride. In this game of life, staying bona fide. Pressure cook a life, but I stay so poised. Ignore the fake chatter, that background noise. Gut feeling sharp, no time for ploys. Cut through the fog, making power moves, boy. Tell the odds what's up, I'm destined to win. Counting fame and blessings, not just Benjamins. Dodging fake friends and predatory grins. Tunnel vision clean, eyes where the end begins. Underdog vibes, intuition my guide. In a world so loud, trust the quiet inside. Haters throw shade, still walk my stride. In this game of life, staying bona fide. Staying bona fide. In this game of life, staying bona fide.
Sweat dripping, bricks of time stacking to a tower. Chasing worth, like being strong to the flower. Hands blister, no cheap codes or schemes. Bartering my soul just to fund these dreams. They see me glisten, think the crime's for sale. Integrity ain't tagged, no spot on the scale. Price of fame's heavy, don't let Houdini cloud. sweat, but ignore my hustle soul. Pawn for a crown, nah, that's not my goal. Loose change chatter, but the bill's still unpaid. Earned every inch in the trenches I weigh. Turn heads, now they plotting the auction.
God,
Face
there's
in the
so
crowd, now
many
I'm the main attraction.
Windows
My
ones.
worth ain't found in applause or
Oh,
boast.
ooh,
Loyal
okay.
to the
Shell
grind, no a
reverse H.
fan of my
Okay,
ghost.
okay.
They see me
3221.
think the crimes for sale.
Command shell. That might be
Integrity ain't
Windows
tag,
too.
no spot on the scale. Price of fame's heavy, don't let Houdini clown. Built this from the dirt while they scream out loud. Rope burns, hug my hands, climbing higher. Heart pumping, fuel live wire, no low tire. Tried to brand me, but I own
Uh-huh.
this name. Stand by the grind, not the hype or fame. They see me glisten, think the crime's for sale. Integrity ain't tag, no spot on the scale. Price of fame's heavy, don't let Houdini cloud. Built this from the dirt while they scream out loud. Road burns, hook my hands, climbing higher. Heart pumping, fuel alive, wire, no low tire. Tried to bring me, but I own this name. Stand by the grind, not the hype or fame. They see me glisten, think the crime's for
Ooh,
sale.
access denied, huh?
Integrity ain't tag, no spot on the scale. Price of
Well,
fame's
more
heavy,
practice
don't
is
let Houdini
necessary. I think
cloud.
I'm done with this for
Built
now.
this from the dirt
It's I
while
got
they
it set
scream
up to
out
work out
loud.
well. Now I got my own little networking playground I can F with. Oh, but I must do other things. Oh, yes, yes. Very good, very good. I'll be done now. Thank you for joining if you have. Plenty more to come in the future. Make sure to leave anything in chat. Communicate. You know, we talk about a lot of things here. Sometimes y'all just kind of creep in. I mean, feel free to lurk. That's totally fine. But we can go through a lot of details. So let me know if you ever want to see something. Write in comments if you want specific details on something. Computers, mathematics, servers, programming, whatever. And make sure if you do need help in mathematics specifically, I do have a patreon.com/superscholar Chris MIA. That's where you